Hello, uprisers. Hope everyone is doing well today. I'm recording this on Saturday, January 30th. My name is Tatum, and I am recording this from Otoham, Akima Otoham, and Hohokam land here in what is now Phoenix, Arizona. And this presentation for you guys is about the spring growing season in the low desert of Phoenix. So I will hope to give you guys some helpful tricks and tips and give you a list of things that you can grow in your garden and helpful things to know as you embark on the spring growing season. These pictures here on the left are my radishes growing in my community garden. And on the right is my garden just right outside my duplex in my tiny little side yard. And that's just like a 4 by 3 foot little 1 foot high raised bed that I got on Amazon for like $50. So it's really accessible, and you can find these things, I'm sure, at plant shops and nurseries. But those are all just greens kind of arranged in a half spiral pattern. I have kale, Swiss chard, some like butternut, lettuce, and there's broccoli growing in there, and a strawberry in the middle. So let's start with some permaculture principles first. This is just ways for you to approach your garden. So the first one is to intentionally design your garden. As fun as it is to just throw seeds and sprinkle them out and hope for the best, it is really helpful to intentionally design where you want things to go. If you want to organize it in a spiral pattern or a circle or in rows. And also being intentional about where you're planting things, what you're planting next to each other, and what are companion plants of each other. And that is just as easy as Googling it and finding out. Second thing is you should support the surrounding ecosystem. So supporting the bees and the butterflies and the hummingbirds by putting a hummingbird feeder on the tree or some bird feeders in the tree to deter them from eating your tomatoes. So supporting the wildlife around you in a healthy way. And working to restore balance to the soil. As we know, mainstream agriculture basically just takes from the soil, takes all the beneficial bacteria, all of the worms and deliciousness, and makes the soil rich and fertile for us to grow food. So as you're gardening, being mindful of using compost and buying it from local places that make it themselves, or maybe making your own compost, or using compost tea, or putting some kind of mycorrhizal beneficial fungi in your raised garden bed to create a mycelium network. So thinking of ideas to really bring back a diverse life to your soil. And that leads into creating diversity in your garden. So planting things that aren't the same species. So if you're planting corn, doing a different bunch of kinds of corn, not just one kind. And planting different flowers and different vegetables and different berries and different herbs and all these things that will bring in beneficial insects, push out the bad insects, and things like that. So being mindful of planting a bunch of different kinds of things, because that will create a really strong and resilient garden. And also plant things that you like. Don't plant things that you don't like, because then you won't have as much passion and drive to be taking care of that thing. And it's wasteful. So plant things that you eat a lot of. Plant things that you buy a lot at the grocery store. So being in that mindset of getting excited about planting things that you eat a lot of. Here's our first slide about things you can plant, and that is vegetables. Starting with the 3 sacred sister plants that the indigenous have been planting for centuries, which is squash, beans, and corn. So for spring here in Arizona, it is best to plant peas instead of beans, and those are really great to plant from seed. Summer squash, yellow, green squash, or eggplant. Super duper easy to plant from seed. Just bury them in the ground about 1 inch and cover them. Corn is another really easy one to grow from seed. Plant those directly in the ground and cover them in water and sing to them and take care of them, and they will grow and deliver you a really big yield. Squash grows like weed, so you will get a lot of squash if you like squash. Cucumber you can plant from seed. Tomatoes you can start from seed, or it is easy to buy it started already from the store, from a nursery or local plant shop. I started my tomatoes by seeds last year, but I did start them inside, and that's another thing with creating a designated little propagation station in your house to plant little seeds in. And melons are so much fun to plant. Watermelon and cantaloupe you can plant from seed, or maybe go to a nursery and see if they have starter. And peppers grow really well here in Arizona. They love the heat. So plant peppers if you love peppers. Next, we have flowers. Flowers are super important in your garden because they bring in all of the bees to pollinate the flowers on your vegetables. They bring in the butterflies and the ladybugs, all of the good things. So plant your sunflowers directly into the ground from seed. They will grow and they will thrive, and you'll get beautiful flowers. Marigolds are really easy flowers to plant from seed. I've had a lot of success with sunflowers and marigolds from seed. Petunia is a reliable companion plant. It repels the bad bugs from your garden, like the bugs that will eat your squash or the bugs that will eat your tomatoes, but they attract the bees, butterflies, and moths. And I bought a bunch of petunias from the Whitfield nursery, already blooming and beautiful, and planted them in my garden. You can buy sage as a starter, sunflowers. Milkweed attracts the beneficial insects, and the monarch butterflies love it. Geranium, hollyhock, and calendula. I have a picture of calendula there on the right side that I bought from the Whitfield nursery as well. So plant your flowers. Not only does it make your garden so beautiful and so colorful, but it brings in all of the beneficial insects. And then we have herbs. Basil, bay, catnip, chives, fennel, lavender, thyme, yarrow, chamomile, oregano, and mint. So herbs are so much fun. You can plant, eat them in your food for spices. You can make them into tea. You can turn them into salves and medicine. There's so many different things you can do with herbs. And herbs are really popular starters. So Whitfield Nursery, when I went about 2 weeks ago, had so many different kinds of herbs. And these pictures here, I have cilantro and rosemary, and on the right, a big lavender tree, and in the bottom with my kitty is a basil plant. And I got all of those from the Whitfield Nursery. So check out all your local nurseries and see what kind of plants you can find and plant them in your garden. And these are just some little tips here. Always shop at your local nurseries or plant shops first. They will usually always have everything, and they can offer you so much wisdom and knowledge, and definitely about growing here in the Phoenix desert. They can give you a bunch of tips on that. And I cannot recommend the Arizona Worm Farm enough. It is really, really cool place. They make all their own compost tea. I learned a couple weeks ago that they breed, I don't know what to call it, but they hold space for 40,000 worms to be created a week. So you can buy worms, worm castings, large bags of soil and compost. And using all of these things will ensure a diverse microbiome in your soil and later a larger vegetable yield. So that goes back to our permaculture principle, taking care of the soil and giving back, using the compost tea, integrating worms into your raised garden bed will really just boost your entire garden. And lastly, raised garden beds are great, community gardens are great, and potting bags are also great. Whatever works best for you in your current situation. Start small if you're like feeling really iffy about what to do, but just get started, because it is so healing and so beneficial to return to the land, to get your hands dirty in the soil and dig and work for your food like people should be doing. So I hope all of this information was helpful for you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing what you create this spring growing season. I will add that I don't think I mentioned. Plant all of these seeds within a week or two. I would say the first or second week of February would be the perfect time to be planting all of these seeds in the ground. So within the next 2 weeks, get them in the ground, plant your seeds, set your intentions, and please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. I can recommend a bunch of different nurseries or give you any tips or tricks if you need them. So thank you for watching this. Blessed be.